All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I missed an update a couple of days ago, so this is a few days late, but this is the 46.2 hotfix that was released on August 7th. There's some buffs and some nerfs that we weren't expecting and a rework. I'm going to be going through this relatively quickly. It's going to be a short video. While there is a lot of buffs and nerfs, it's not going to take long to go over them, so we're going to go over this quick. So before I get into the buffs and nerfs, I'd like to ask your help in growing the channel. If you do like these kind of videos, if you like keeping up with AOV and the occasional Honor of Kings content, I'd like to ask you to help the channel to grow. Feel free to post videos, to make comments, to tell your friends. If I can get the channel to continue to grow in subscribers and see that the view count is increasing, it'll really help me to stay motivated and continue to make this content. So I appreciate your help, and let's get into the updates. Annette has had a buff on skill 1. It is the slowdown is a fixed 10% instead of 5% plus levels, and skill 2's cooldown has been reduced. On Chi, her passive has had a buff. It now gives an additional magic defense bonus. Murad has been buffed. Crossing the barrier on his skill 2 now causes additional damage. So you're not going to want to go in and out of his skill 2 area of effect. Arthur, unforeseen buff here. He has been buffed to where his skill 1, the cooldown wouldn't start until he executed the skill 1. I guess I don't really know how to do it, how to explain it. You cast skill 1, and then there's a cooldown time that you get to do the attack. Well, previously, the cooldown on the whole skill wouldn't start until the attack happened. But now the cooldown starts as soon as you initiate skill 1, and then you have time to run around and do the attack, and this cooldown is happening that whole time. So in order to account for that variation of, whether he has about 3 seconds, I think, to actually use the ability. To account for that, they've set it to a flat 8 seconds minus his levels on the cooldown. And the silence duration is up 1/4 of a second, from 1 second to 1.25. So a little bit of a buff there. Arthur kind of needed it, honestly. He, in higher elo, he was not holding up too good. Now we have some nerfs that I wasn't expecting. Irie with a nerf to her passive enhanced normal attack damage. And it might look like it's a bit of a buff, but when you do some math on this, it is actually a nerf. They're giving a little bit more base damage, but the percentage of attack damage is significantly lower, so it actually is a nerf to the attack damage. Volkath just got this buff, just got everything kind of back up and being usable, and they said it was too much. They have nerfed him, so he's probably, honestly, I didn't think he was off the charts usable, but so they nerfed him. His stun duration is down 1/4 of a second to 0.5 seconds, and his true damage is significantly less on his skill 1. Ryoma got a nerf. His passive slow is nerfed by 20%, so it goes from 50 to 30%. Now, the rework that we weren't quite expecting was Lubu, and we're just going to get into the items here. I'll kind of pause it. You can pause and read the background if you'd like. The translation doesn't quite come across, so I'm just going to go right into what changed. His passive, he now has enhanced normal attacks that he can stack up, and it increases the distance and speed of his attacks by 35 to 70%. His skill 1 has been, not much has changed really. The dashes and the damage is all as normal. The cooldown gets reduced every time you use one of the stages of the dash, and the cooldown is 10 seconds minus some levels. Skill 2 They have added the ability to regen some health. In my opinion, it's not enough. This did not make Lubu viable, in my opinion. But he throws his S2 ability. It hits enemies, slows them down, does damage, and recovers health. And then his ultimate, he frees himself from a control effect, recovers lost HP, and greatly increases his damage and resistance. This lasts for 8 seconds, and during that period, each normal attack or the first skill hitting will restore some HP of his. And then when it's released, it causes damage to nearby enemies. Cooldown's 42 seconds. So again, it's considered a rework. They think it's going to make him viable, but there's not enough changes here to make him viable. I've played this in a match, and he's still just the same, kind of got the same issues. There's no sustainability. He's still kind of squishy. And then, of course, as usual, the bug fixes. Feel free to pause and watch those. There is talk of Erin's magic damage being nerfed again. They nerfed her attack damage into the floor. Now everybody's using magic, so they're trying to balance that out. I don't know what they're thinking there, but we'll see what happens when it comes. And Dahlia has been finally released. If you haven't noticed, she is available, and there will be a video of her coming up here in a couple of days. So that is everything for the 46.2 hotfix. And if you did like this video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. Thanks everybody. I'll see you on the battlefield.